He's resisting the siege of imperialism he spent his whole life under. The poetics are there. I mean, that's a little bit of a wild comparison. Especially because how the fuck is Liam Payne an icon of the West? Interesting way to stop anti-Semitism, but who am I to second guess? Meet Ireland's Foreign Minister Michael Martin family. On October 7th, Hamas terrorists raped and kidnapped his daughter, Ayob Martin, into Gaza. Today, Foreign Minister Michael Martin announced he is rewarding his daughter's rapers with a state of their own. Lunacy, right? This post is for illustrative purposes only and did not actually occur. Pronounced Eva? Okay, sorry. Yeah, that was a fucking... Stop anti-Semitism is so insane. It's awesome. Anyway. For the record, this did not happen. Stop anti-Semitism was just like... is schizophrenic. Is a schizophrenic Long Island woman. And because of the incredible amount of legitimacy that we randomly offer any and every group or person that is pro-Israel, that she just gets to be a psychopath on her own, and people still like kind of take her. They don't take her super seriously, but like people still act like that's a real legitimate organization. Peasant brain. Normal. It's heartbreaking when my youngest son's eyes light up. And he points and says, look at the sky. I'm like, that's not the sky. Medieval peasant brain. I love that. Hey, you're fat, right? What do you think of my fetish cartoon? I do think this one is worth addressing. I tried to base it off the original, which also has her eating. I also ran it by plus size friends and they didn't seem to mind. Okay. Joe Cat slander will not be tolerated. Joe Cat, no! He's just horny, man. He's just weird and horny. I am choosing to believe the First Lady sucked Joe Biden's dick so hard on Thursday afternoon that his mouth stayed open until Sunday. Let that one sink in a little bit. Let's... Perhaps the most like the police anyone has ever looked. A group of black teenagers started calling me police as I walked past them in Manhattan today and kept repeating it. I don't think I look like the police. The Lindy Man, Luigi Mangione's favorite author. Never forget, Paul Scalas might have triggered Luigi Mangione into doing something. Literally. I will never forget. Work means playing Diablo and posting 18 hours a day. Everyone is praising Mark for this video, but I personally still think he zucks. May he continue to have fun on his yacht. I prefer to work. Yeah, Elon Musk working. Black Americans were offered to go back to Africa by Lincoln. They chose to stay and took active part in American expansionism. So black Americans should at least be considered colonizer collaborators. Hard to swallow pills. Black Americans are much more colonizers than Israeli Jews. Oh my God. This is my favorite genre of tweet from Israel defenders, is that they randomly will get like so unimaginably anti-black. It's fucking awesome. Yes. People whose ancestors were brought here as slaves against their will, forcibly ripped away from their homes, and endured mass rape and were trafficked as cattle, are actually significantly more a colonizing force than dudes who flew in from Long Island to take a random Palestinian family's ancestral home. Yeah, no, totally. Incredible stuff. Pundits, Joe Biden needs to drop out. Biden, no. Oh, this was a banger too. God, so many good stuff happened. Like, so many good stuff happened around July. So many So many incredible takes. This one, probably one of the best of the year. Pundits, Joe Biden needs to drop out. Biden, no. Pundits, but we really want Joe Biden to drop out. Biden, no. 8 House Dems. Joe, the pundits say you need to drop out. They really want that. Biden, no. George Clooney, come on, Joe. Just relax. You'll like dropping out. Biden, no. Voters, no means no, motherfuckers. Politics and rape culture are too similar for comfort. Excellent. Biden Dead Enders, in and of itself, was a unique genre of tweeting that I think we only get once in a lifetime. You know what I mean? I mean, this is also obviously in the halls of the greats. To answer the question on everyone's minds, no, Joe Biden does not have a doctorate in foreign affairs. He's just that fucking good. Okay, fantastic stuff. Thank you. I've never realized just how much this country hates the elderly until last week. It's really shameful, and I don't know what to tell you, but 81 is not that old. If 81 is not that old, what's that old? Guys, I could really use some love right now. I just let my miserable liberal wife know who I am and how I feel. Pretty sure we're done. Libtard wife. Start every day with lots of self-love. What is the ChatGPT prompt? Why did a lot of African Americans like the jazz singer? Incredible. Pits out for Kamala. Love this trend. I didn't even know this was a trend. A client accidentally double paid a $15K invoice recently. I called to let them know and said I would shred the check. They asked me to please mail the check back to them. I had to use ChatGPT to learn where to buy a stamp. I went to Walgreens and they made me buy 20. I used one and threw the other 19 away. I then had to figure out how to get the envelope in the mail. I asked the property manager for our office building what to do. She took care of it for me. Not knowing how to send mail is a huge competitive advantage. When I was growing up, friends would take out their balls and put them on each other's heads when they were laying down. Years later, I read an article by a veteran who described this happening in the military, and he said he was sexually assaulted. So stupid and pathetic. I mean, that's crazy. New Amon animations just dropped. Dr. Disrespect's demise. Ooh, we got banger after banger. Closing off the year with some good shit. Okay, I have to pee really bad though. So I'm going to sidestep away and go to some regular news for a second while I go pee, and then I'll be back in a second. I have to pee.
And it is already 2025 on the other side of the world. Places like Auckland, New Zealand have already kicked off the celebrations. And here in Times Square, huge crowds are expected to watch the ball drop at midnight, despite some not so nice weather in the forecast. And just like every year, this event is a major test for law enforcement. They are working hard to keep everybody safe. Nikki BeSt got an inside look at those preparations, and she is down in Times Square. Good morning, Nikki, my friend.
Hi, Adriana. Good morning. Revelers still have a few hours to wait to get into the celebrations here in Times Square, but the NYPD has already sealed off the area and is working around the clock to keep the crowd of roughly 1 million here tonight safe.
Long before the clock strikes midnight and the confetti drops, the New York Police Department is hard at work keeping those celebrating safe.
It'll be busy here Yes, it'll be. We've got, some 70,000 networked cameras.
It's here in the Joint Command Center where the New York Police Department is monitoring thousands of resources deployed across the city, ready to detect threats from guns to radiation.
You're going to have representatives from across our own department, other agencies, all here looking at all of these cameras around us, sharing information and intelligence in real time.
Rebecca Weiner is the Deputy Commissioner of Counterterrorism and Intelligence for the NYPD.
How would you rate your concern for New Year's Eve?
Anytime you have this amount of people coming into such a confined...
This is manufacturing consent for the surveillance state. I don't want to be the fucking friend who is too woke, but this is manufacturing consent for the surveillance state. They're absolutely fucking telling you, like, no, additional police presence is there to protect you. The surveillance state is there to protect you. It's propaganda. It's absolutely propaganda. Call me the woke of the day if you want, but that is precisely what's going on here. Propaganda, propaganda, propaganda. This person literally played a formative role in the crackdowns against the Columbia students that were protesting on college campus. The NYPD counterterrorism unit literally utilized some of the massive state and local resources to basically stamp out and brutalize a whole bunch of college students who basically were just saying, Israel is mean, okay? They failed spectacularly in apprehending and catching Luigi Mangione. They relied on literally a random person. Doing the wrong thing. And ever since then, they are trying to desperately do propaganda that is pro-surveillance state.
Find space over a long duration of time. It is going to be a desirable target for somebody to do something bad.
Authorities.
This level of surveillance is rarely ever successful. This level of surveillance is rarely ever successful at apprehending criminals. It's just a way for overinflated budgets. This level of surveillance does virtually nothing to actually apprehend people who are doing unimaginably violent things. Even police presence does very little. Even police presence does very little, as evidenced by the fact that in a crowded metro station, a dude walked up to I believe a homeless lady who was sleeping and lit her on fire. Cops casually strolled past her body on fire as the person who did the act was just standing and watching. Okay? Sad, incredibly sad story. All of that surveillance, none of it mattered.
They say tonight's security plan has been calibrated to what's happening overseas following the Christmas market attack in Germany. Trucks will be in place to prevent vehicle ramming, a now common sight among big events here.
We'll make sure each one of those who come here to visit and enjoy the ball drop will be safe.
From coast to coast, law enforcement is sharing the same message.
We all know that public safety begins with us.
While in Boston, officials are asking those out celebrating to remain vigilant and report any suspicious behavior. As Atlanta prepares for its famous Peach Drop downtown, authorities there are dispatching hundreds of additional officers.
And wherever the city may call upon its police department, we're going to be there. We'll be there quickly.
The NYPD tells us there are no specific credible threats to tonight's celebrations, but the department has been operating at a heightened threat environment since the October 7th, 2023 attack in Israel. As for the weather, guys, it's not looking great, and there are no umbrellas allowed through the security checkpoint here in Times Square. For a look at the New Year's Eve forecast, here with me now is meteorologist Rob Marciano.
Hey, good morning, Nikki.
Good morning.
It's balmy out here.
Dry so far.
Yeah, that's the good news. The bad news is that the credible threat is for rain tonight, and so having an umbrella would be helpful. Unfortunately, you can't do that if you're here in Times Square. It's raining right now in places like Chicago, places like Indiana, and the soon-to-be places like Columbus, Ohio, and that's going to be the problem as this rainfall, as you can see on the radar, future radar, is going to be into New York shortly after 7, 8, 9 o'clock tonight. Some of the heaviest stuff could come at or after midnight.
What the fuck does October 7 have anything to do with public safety in New York City? Hamas is going to attack Times Square is what they're claiming. Just like they said it was a Hamas-related incident in the Christmas market in Germany, and then it turned out it was like an AFD supporter that did it. So they quietly packed up that narrative. They just kind of casually dropped it out there. And this wasn't like right-wing fucking psychos who were speculating that it was probably a Hamas-related terror incident, by the way. It was straight up objective, in air quotes, news media that was speculating. I like that we are increasingly becoming more paranoid, more schizophrenic, and just like hallucinating alternative realities openly on Maine over and over and over again. Seems to me like we are moving away from being a healthy society to being a deeply unhealthy society. They make arguments about old migrant crime, never about cops preventing crime. It's insane.
Maybe some snow across places like Detroit. Winds are going to be an issue, too. So temperatures will be mild, yeah, but winds will be gusting 20, 30, 40, maybe even 50 miles an hour in places like Nashville or Lexington. So that could bring down some trees or power lines. But Chicago to Cleveland.
I think it's also wild to think that, like, I think it's also wild to assume that in the United States of America, okay, that if there was to be like a mass shooting incident or like an act of domestic terror, the assumption that it's going to be an Islamist Hamas supporter is so extra insane, because we live in the mass shooting country where virtually anyone and everyone does mass shootings, and the overwhelming majority are still straight white dudes in general. But regardless, like, virtually anyone and everyone can conduct a mass shooting, and it's almost never about Palestine or whatever. I think my mom is here. Mama. Oh no, I forgot to order her salad.
And a place like Roanoke, at least hold on to your party hats because it will be breezy. It's a pretty
like, not to say that it can't happen, mind you. It's just that it is unimaginably rare.
That's going to be out rumbling through. So let's break down some of the cities, time zone by time zone. New York, 46 degrees. Maybe we'll get a dry slot around midnight, 50 in D.C. So that is warm. Detroit, some snow flurries. That's chilly, 34 degrees. 39 in Cincinnati, right around midnight. Seasonable in Kansas City, Minneapolis, Chicago. I think the rain will be done with you guys, so that'll be good. And then in parts of the Intermountain West, where you've had some fresh coatings of snow, that's good for the skiers. Temperatures will be seasonal there in Salt Lake as well. Denver, 22 degrees. There's another system coming into the Pacific Northwest, and that will bring in some rainfall right around midnight in Portland and Seattle, 41 degrees expected there. The cold air, though, will be coming in for the new year. Here it comes. So winter whiplash, back to it on Wednesday and Thursday. Minneapolis dropping about 10 to 15 degrees or more on Thursday here in New York City. By Friday and Saturday, we'll get back to needing the winter coat. So this will come in handy. You might need a scarf or a hat by then. But right now, we'll go out 2020.
There's a flight from Hong Kong going back to LAX, which will have gone back 2025 back to 2024 law. That's pretty sick. That's cool.
On a relatively mild note, but
California's weather is so boring. Excuse me, it's 62 degrees and hazy here, as you can see down on the left corner. It's 62 and selam anne. Hayır. What is this? I want your commentary on the news/virality recap. Everything always happens. Actually, I don't know. Ordinary things kind of like, I don't know. I'm kind of, I don't know about ordinary things anymore. Like the video that he did about like the anti-migrant, like the anti-Muslim pogroms that occurred, like kind of soured me a little bit. Like his commentary on it, saying like it's not actually right-wingers that did this or whatever. It was weird. He had like a somewhat centrist take on that, and it shocked me. Are we gonna watch a little bear recap? Absolutely. Anyway, all right, let's get back to the funniest tweets of 2024. It's good to have boundaries. Is there a polite way to tell a coffee shop clerk owner, and I and probably others would work remotely from your fine establishment if the music was lower, but I can't hear myself think, let alone do phone interviews and Zoom calls here. Nobody wants you talking on the phone and taking Zoom calls at the coffee shop. What the fuck is wrong with you? Go home. Swear at me again, and you're blocked. More noncery. She's 18 years old, but has been ovulating since she was 12 and a half. Would you prefer to marry her at this age or at a younger age? What is the ideal age a girl should be at marriage, in your opinion? I think we need to lobotomize some people, okay? Bring back lobotomies in 2025. Bring back lobotomies in 2025, okay? What the fuck? Like, rarely ever do I read a tweet that just like immediately gives me a full body visceral reaction. Gross! Yeah, mandatory hard drive check for all people that tweet shit like that. Mandatory. More lacking ball knowledge. Steve Kerr, in the words of great Steph Curry, we could tell Donald Trump night-night. Wait, no one else finds this disturbing? Donald Trump was nearly assassinated, and Steve Kerr is joking about putting him to sleep in front of the entire world. What has happened to this man? He seems detached from reality. You're reaching, LaMaffeo. The way it was presented was scary to me. You can leave this for your therapist. A CEO I worked for seduced my wife in retaliation for my pushback at him at work. He won. I got divorced and left the company. When I say I truly understand how some executive teams can be political snake pits, I trust you. I trust you will believe me. Learn from my pain. Do the following. You got cucked by your CEO and then you wrote it out loud. Oh, thank you. Thank you for having no shame whatsoever. Once again, incredible. The CEO is Bezos, by the way. Wait, really? No. Beyonce walks in. A cappella. Taylor Swift brings in harmony. After a verse, a quiet guitar joins in and Dolly Parton arrives. As the live band brings it to a peak, Simone Biles flips across the stage. A lone eagle soars across the audience, screeching, "Yes!" The eagle places a crown on Kamala's head, screeches, lands on her shoulder. Game over. No need for an election. That's right. And because that didn't happen, that's the reason why. Because that didn't happen, that is the reason why Kamala Harris lost. Okay. We'll do Washington Post's wildest political moments in a second after this. Drew Pavlov was obviously a poster MVP, getting posterized on the timeline for our satisfaction. Drew Pavlov, Malcolm X, if you're not careful, the newspapers will have you hating the people who are being oppressed and loving the people who are doing the oppressing. Now, obviously, he is an incredibly racist liberal, like an unimaginably racist liberal, which is why him using Malcolm X quotes is already funny to begin with, because he is the guy who, you know, I guess plays the role of the newspaper, even though he's not, right? Malcolm X hated Israel. He would have hated you too, Tony Montana replies. To which he turns around and says, I would have talked to him and things would have turned out very differently. But there's more. There's more. There was didn't he claim that he's like spiritually Malcolm X or something? Like he came back to life? Truth nuke. If Rihanna held an AK-47 to my head when I was 16 and said, I'm gonna make a man out of you, white boy, absolutely no way I would have been upset. Incredible. There's more. There's definitely more. Truth nuke. Oh, it wasn't about Malcolm X. Sorry. He said he was a Tiananmen Square protester in a past life, and also that he was black in a past life. That's what he had said. Read the 9/11 autism Drew Pavlov tweet. This was incredible. A grifter that detransitioned because of October 7. Another one in the halls of greats. Tomorrow marks my 1-year anniversary of not wearing a breast binder. On October 7th, 2023, I awoke to a siren. I didn't have enough time to squeeze myself into the barbaric breast squashing device I had used to pass as a man. I had only enough time to run to a bomb shelter. Guys, please pray for me. I feel so depressed that I'm already drinking vodka Coke at 8 a.m. I don't know. Since I've become Catholic, it just feels like I'm in an abusive relationship with Pope Francis, and I'm just not sure how much longer I can take it. Pope Francis said he will consider openness to transgender people when naming a new U.S. bishop. I've also fallen back into an old habitual sin that I thought I had already escaped. Right after going into confession too, it all feels so hopeless. I also may have posted something blasphemous without realizing. What is this? This is the 9/11 autism tweet. Attention, Drew haters. To all the haters who claim I am not neurodivergent enough to reclaim the use of the word R word in a progressive and liberating fashion, I just dug up my old kindergarten records. Explain this. I was basically the goat of being on the spectrum as a kid. My mom got me tested when I was 4 because I was obsessed with 9/11 in kindergarten and kept building block towers so that I could try to understand how the World Trade Center buildings collapsed. What is this? Breaking. I didn't know Drew looked like this. Breaking footage of global terrorist Drew Pavlov getting arrested for bomb threats has been released. He doesn't look like this anymore, by the way. He's gotten significantly fatter, and from what I understand, he's very very self-conscious about it and gets really mad about it. Well, 9/11 is my autistic special interest too, Drew. All right. This guy was an alcoholic, and now he is blaming Catholicism for his alcoholism. In retrospect, she's kind of cooking with gas here. Can't stop thinking about the irony of Liam Payne and Yahya Sinwar dying on the same day. An icon of the West, falling to the perils of addiction and excess. An icon of the East, resisting the siege of imperialism he spent his whole life under. The poetics are there. I mean, that's a little bit of a wild comparison. Especially because how the fuck is Liam Payne an icon of the West? I think you really wanted to make that fit. I watched Terrifier 3 last night, and the thing is, I've seen so much gore coming out of Gaza lately, the movie kind of didn't shock me. What did you want to convey here exactly? You're not men, you're boys. If there was no social media, you would be my concubines. Another incredible take from a guy openly just being like, I want to do rape to you. Like, just no shame. No shame whatsoever. Very weird fantasy. I want to have gay sex with you against your will is just an insane thing to say. That one was amazing. Another, oh, yep, this is it. This is the Drew pose. While I am white, I have black street cred. Put me on the streets of Compton and I could organize a ceasefire between the Bloods and the Crips within 24 hours. This was originally about euthanasia. You people would treat your cats and dogs with more dignity than your loved ones who are faced with a slow, painful death and no hopeful terminal illness improving. Aren't you the one who stopped masking around your cancer-stricken husband? Someone needs to beat your ass to a pulp for thinking it's all right to talk like this. You would fold faster than a wet tissue paper if I saw you offline, lol. I think it's really funny where people on Twitter talk about how they would beat each other's asses in the real world. Because if you're posting on Twitter, especially with like an anonymous account, you're not going outside, okay? You're not. You're just not going outside. You go outside and you see sunlight, you perish. So it's very funny when people go, oh, pull up, like I'll fucking beat your ass. I could literally just cough on you. Colonizer threatening me with bioterrorism. Exactly. Another banger. What is this one? Oh, this is new. This is a last second edition on December 27th. A trans Nazi putting up a Nazi flag with trans pride colors. Always so strange to see stuff like that. What do you call that person? Yeah, exactly. And Hearts of Iron 4 player, okay? That's what you call that person. Someone who plays Paradox games. Maybe a little too much. Well, oh, this drove people insane. The olfactory ethics English lit dissertation sounds cool and you're all stupid. Her unnecessary synonyms in the subtitle bodes poorly for her intellect. Olfactory ethics, the politics of smell in modern and contemporary prose. What? Isn't modern and contemporary prose different? Like two different subsects of prose? What? Why wouldn't... Yeah, of course she's gonna specify that. What the fuck? There's something so funny about thinking, okay? Thinking that you know more about literature than a person who has written an entire dissertation on it. Like, you think you have not only a better grasp of the English language, which you clearly don't, but you also know more about English lit than a person who's writing a PhD on it. Like, how? Even if you didn't know anything, okay, you do this all the time? What? What do you mean I do this all the time? What do you mean I do this all the time? The notion that, are you saying I use the word contemporary as a substitute? Because yes, I do. Because in normal language, utilizing the term contemporary is very different than when you're talking about contemporary and modern prose. Words within context mean different things and can be utilized in different settings. Just because these two things are considered synonyms does not mean that they can't be used as a synonym or a substitute in normal language and mean something entirely different when we're having a conversation about literature. Oh my God. These words mean the same thing here. Okay. I don't think they do. And I'm simply using, is olfactory a real word? Yes, of course. They do not. And even if you did not know, you criticize PhDs all the time. I'm going to let that one sit in the chat a little bit. Okay? I'm gonna let that sit in the chat a little bit. I wanted that to hang over our heads a little bit. You're appealing to her credentials like you actually value academic credentials. Okay, Chatter wasn't joking. Chatter literally, genuinely, as a 51-month subscriber, thinks that I don't value academic credentials, like at all. did you listen to me making jokes about my mom getting a doctorate and just go, this man does not value academia? Are you okay? You did used to have a bit about PhD. Yeah, you did used to have a bit about PhDs and how they're fake. No, the bit is you're not a medical doctor and you want to be referred to as one, which I know stings really hard from my immediate loved ones who have PhDs. And I understand as a joke, as a way to tickle people's sensibilities, as a bit, as a joke, okay? I recognize the horrible conditions that grad students have to go through, and the only thing they can cling on to is some semblance of authority because they're not paid well. Even within that joke, the interpretation for you should be that, once again, I am understanding of the conditions that people have to go through and how they are consistently undermined in regular frequency, which is why they place a lot of value on the title doctor. The joke in and of itself is not about like how PhDs are stupid or that you shouldn't listen to them or you shouldn't trust them. The joke more so is that they get mistreated and are underpaid. In 2024, I will, of course, continue to autistically examine and explain every single joke that I have, including jokes that I make about my mother, my own mother. Okay? In 2025, I will continue to do so. I swear, explaining jokes to a leftist chat is going to be my why I left the left. And this person has not only doubled down, but has also tripled down and will most likely quadruple down as well. Clapping. I love when you explain to the children. Anyway. PhDs do deserve to be called doctors. Do you not agree? Yes, I do agree. Guys, oh my God. I'm fucking memeing, okay? Holy shit. This year's new bestseller, Chat Fragility. I mean, Chat Fragility will never go away. Anyway. I can't believe that this turned into yet another fucking idiotic back and forth with a chatter who's just like, listen, dog, I don't understand the concept of jokes, and it also hurt my feelings as a PhD, probably. It's even funnier if that person doesn't have a PhD, by the way. Chatter, do you have a PhD? Because if you don't have a PhD, it's going to be way funnier. So you might as well just fucking lie and say you have one, okay? 51-month subscriber on New Year's Eve being like, no, dude. Quick, Hasan, tell them you don't think chiropractors or dentists are real doctors. Strike while the iron is hot. Okay, well, I can't believe you put chiropractors and dentists in the same conversation. Okay, calm down now. Like, even as a joke, those two things should not be in the same conversation. All right. My bestie, Richard Hanania, shows his gift, an uncanny ability to guess which trans women have penises and which don't. Oh my God. What? And then, of course, this is the greatest tweet of the year. I am constantly insulted on this platform. Your Wikipedia page under personal life is really only this. Personal life. In 2021, Piker purchased a $2.7 million house in West Hollywood, California. What a banger. This is the banger tweet of the year.